I'm tired and I know it. Ugh.
This is a news show.
What's up, nation? Welcome to the Tuesday show, of course. My name's Philip DeFranco, and this show is really just me talking about news tap stuff and things that matter to me today. And two quick tap things before we jump into the real news. One, today is a travel day before we fly to New York City. So if you reside in New York City, Wednesday and Thursday there is a 1 in 8.5 million chance we might bump into each other. And two, remember there is only 24 more hours if you want the silence-inspired shirt that was made by our designer friend. And then it goes into the vault with the rest of the designs never to be released. Except every 3 to 4 months. But enough of that blah 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 blah, let's jump into the first story of the day. And the first thing I want to talk about today is May Day. May Day might be the reason that it's very hard to get to where you want to go today. I know, for example, most likely my flight has been delayed and it will take about an extra hour to 2 hours to get to LAX, because May Day, which is also known as International Workers' Day, is also known as the day many people don't go to work and or protest. So that is why everything is slow today. And May Day is very interesting. It all started back in the 19th century, and that's because back then, working conditions were usually extreme or just outright dangerous. Add that to the fact that most people were exhausted because their workday was 10 to 16 hours, and lots of injuries and deaths occurred. Thousands a year for no good reason. And while that suckitude continued for a very long time, things kinda sorta changed May 1st, 1886. That's when the working class was tired of taking so much shit and were like, hey, how about if we all left our jobs and maybe shot people? Well, maybe we all don't shoot people, but like some of us shoot people. And on May 1st, 1886, more than 300,000 workers and 13,000 businesses across the US walked off their jobs in what became the first ever May Day celebration in history. This continued for a while. Violence raged, people were arrested and convicted, then some of them were pardoned. And after all of that, May Day is still a thing. It's an official holiday in 66 countries and an unofficial one in many others. And it all ties back into today, May 1st, 2012, because the Occupy movement. The Occupy movement has kind of sort of been in shambles since they didn't have a central location anymore. They got kicked out, everyone was kind of fragmented. But today, thousands of people in New York are not only occupying, but marching. At the time of recording this, things are still somewhat under control. There have not been many disturbances, at least not like in Indonesia, where 100,000 people took to the streets and there were just thousands of cops trying to deal with it. And I think we'll see tomorrow and later on in this week if this was a make or break moment for the movement. But like with many movements and protests, there are always the crazies. I say that because last night, several so-called anarchists were arrested because they were trying to buy a bomb. Sadly for them, it turned out the person they were trying to buy a bomb from was an undercover FBI agent. Reportedly, the plan was to buy 2 explosives from the undercover FBI agent, those being improvised explosive devices made of C4 that they were going to use to blow up the Route 82 bridge in Brecksville during the daily commute. Like, they didn't want to just destroy something, they wanted to potentially hurt people. Luckily, their evil plan was thwarted, they are arrested and are being charged with conspiracy and attempted use of explosive materials. And I guess main point, kind of a dick move, anarchists. Want to blow up a bomb in Cleveland? Aren't those people already suffering enough? I mean, what do they have? They have Drew Carey, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum, and the Cleveland Browns. Way to want to kick a guy while he's down. And so I guess the main point, bitches be crazy. And from there, let's move on to sexy top news, because there were 2 big things that mattered to me today. Technically 4 if I was trying to be punny, but the first one was Sofia Vergara. She did a new photo shoot for GQ magazine, and she wore a see-through top. So if you were ever like, oh man, I really wish I knew what Sofia Vergara's nips looked like, now you can with the ease of one clickety-clack of a link down below. Also, the rest of the photo shoot is fantastic because, there's really nothing sexier than a sexy and funny lady. And then, of course, there was Kate Upton. I've mentioned many a time that Kate Upton is not my favorite because she takes very good pictures, but because in video she bounces really nicely. And that's why I was so happy this morning when kinda creepy photographer Terry Richardson had Kate Upton, and he was like, I like these pictures and all, but do you want to show us the cat daddy? And then she showed us the cat daddy. Can't use the words in this song cause I'll get pulled down for copyright violation. Main point, I like the cat daddy. And from there, let's talk about movie type news, because I am excited about the 3rd trailer of The Dark Knight Rises came out today, and oh my god, if you haven't seen the whole trailer yet, this is how it essentially goes. I'm Batman. I'm Bane. I'm Batman. I'm Bane still. I'ma fuck you up. And then, of course, there's the awesome parts.
You don't owe these people anymore. You've given them everything.
Not everything.
Not yet.
But main point, I am very, very excited. July 20th cannot come fast enough. I think the inclusion of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, very, very awesome. He's one of my favorite actors. And then you have Anne Hathaway, who many people are scared is going to ruin Catwoman, which, if we are being honest, was already done by Halle Berry years ago. But a quick question to fans of this franchise. Did you like the first or the second one more? I personally think the second one. I think Heath Ledger made that movie, but let me know what you think and why. And while you are doing that, I will move on to the next thing. Hey guys, that brings us to our final story of the day today, which is actually not a story, but Quicken News. I don't have a lot of time to go into every single story I found interesting today because I have to get on a plane, which is going to take me longer because of May Day protests. So let's kill some news. One, big surprise, doctors and scientists now say tasers can kill people. Police have been saying that tasers are non-lethal weapons, even though the evidence against them, people dying, has been racking up for years. And now a new report in a medical journal has found that being hit by a taser can cause cardiac electrical capture and provoke cardiac arrest. In layman's terms, you die. In Dr. Brian Lee's terms, it's no longer arguable. This is a scientific fact. The national debate should now center on whether the risk of sudden death with tasers is low enough to warrant widespread use by law enforcement. So main point, don't tase me, bro! Two, a new blood test could predict cancer years before tumors form. The research, which was just published, analyzed blood samples from 1,380 women of various ages, and 640 of them went on to develop cancer. So once they had that group of women that had cancer, they went back to their blood test to see if anything looked the same, and big surprise, they were able to identify a strong association between molecular changes in a white blood cell gene called ATM. Then they looked at the samples from the women that did not have cancer and came up with the conclusion that when you have this ATM alteration, it is twice as likely that you will develop breast cancer. So the main point is they're doctors and scientists. They're going to keep checking, double checking, and hopefully this becomes a method for science to save your boobies. Three, Jessica Simpson finally had her baby, which is amazing because she's been pregnant for 26 trimesters. So congratulations to you. And finally, four, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, some of you may remember when we had that Facebook wall. Well, that was very cool, but a lot of it got damaged in the move, and I would like to replace it. So I have opened up my Facebook so that you can upload pictures. So if you have a picture of yourself in like a Philly D shirt, or you're in front of like one of the posters, or even just make your own sign that's like, yo, nation represent / Philly D / anything that relates to this, submit it at my Facebook, which is facebook.com/FrancoNation, and that will turn into one of the two projects we're currently doing. The only other one is the pineapple story, which is taking a very long time because you guys are very, very creative. But yeah, that's gonna have to be today's show, otherwise I'm going to miss my flight. But I do want to leave you with a question of the day today, which is, do you like your job, and what's the worst, best thing about your job? Let me know in the comments down below or in a video response. Hey guys, that brings us to the part of the show where I throw something at your face, and today it is $50 worth of stuff from forhumanpeoples.com and a silence-inspired shirt. Of course, to possibly get pelted in the face, just leave a comment on this video, possibly about the question of the day. And of course, a very big thank you if you clickety-clack the like button, favorited, maybe shared on Twitter or Facebook. But whether you do or not doesn't change the fact that my name is Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love your faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.